Hello everyone, welcome back to Xylem, welcome back to the world of English. My name is Nasser Faruddin, Faculty of English, and I will be helping you cover the entire syllabus for your upcoming English examination. Actually, this is a series of videos. If you haven't seen the first few videos, do check in the video section. And in this particular video, I'll be discussing a very important chapter, a very important play from our core textbook, which is The Proposal by Anton Chekhov. This is such a beautiful story. Again, this is not a story. It has a beautiful story. It's a play. Okay, it is a play. And let's begin with the author, Anton Chekhov. I believe you know something about Anton Chekhov because Anton Chekhov is so popular. Okay, you might have read at least one of his stories in any of your classes, right? And let's begin with Anton Chekhov. He was a famous Russian playwright. Nationality is Russian. So he was a famous Russian playwright and short story writer known for his humor, realism, and sharp observation on human behavior. So these are the major themes of his story. Humor is the, realism is the, it's a very complicated combination, realism and humor, and sharp observation of human behavior. Even though he was a playwright, even though he was also a playwright, he was considered as one of the greatest short story writers in the history. Okay, and his works often show how ordinary people behave foolishly over unimportant things. I mean, maybe that is the case of this particular play. Okay, right, about The Proposal, I would say how ordinary people behave foolishly over unimportant things, how people, argue over trivial things, unimportant things. And The Proposal is a one-act farce. The Proposal is a one-act farce. It's a farce. What is a farce? Farce means a play that deals with a very humorous, absurd kind of subject. That is a farce. And it's a one-act farce in which Chekhov uses exaggerated situations and arguments to highlight human weakness, pride, and the silliness of social customs. Okay, so these are the themes he explores in this particular story. What are those? Human weakness, pride of people, and silliness of social custom. Okay, and let's understand the setting of the story, which is very important when you're reading a story. The setting is very important, crucial. Listen to me carefully, right? The play is set entirely in the drawing room of Stephen Stefanovich Chupkov. Right? For the time being, let's remember his name as Chupkov. The play is set entirely in the drawing room, maybe dining hall, drawing room of Stephen Stefanovich Chupkov's house. So Chupkov's house is the setting of the story. And the setting is simple, showing that the events are domestic and ordinary, which makes the humor more natural. So we have a domestic, ordinary setting for the story. Okay, and let's delve deep into let's analyze the character, or let's read about the characters of the story, the play. Stephen Stefanovich Chupkov, for the time being, let's call him Chupkov. Who is Chupkov? Chupkov is a landowner and father of Natalia. We have only three major characters in the story. So the first one is Chupkov. He's a landowner. He's the father of Natalia. He is friendly and polite at the beginning, but he quickly becomes angry and argumentative. Okay, initially, in the initial part of the play, he appears as a very friendly neighborhood man, as a friendly landowner, but later he becomes angry and argumentative. He wants his daughter to get married, but easily loses his temper. Temper, the mind, he became angry all of a sudden. And we have Natalia Stepanova. Natalia is Chupkov's 25-year-old daughter. She is a hardworking, good housekeeper, but very stubborn. He's very stubborn, adamant. Okay, emotional and quick to argue. Again, she also loses her temper very easily. And we have Ivan Vasilievich Lomo. Okay, let's remember him as Lomo. Who is Lomo? Lomov is a 35-year-old landowner and neighbor of Chupkov. He is nervous, excitable, and suffers from several health problems such as palpitation. Okay, right. So he has this problem of palpitation. Your heart will palpitate so easily when you're nervous, when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're emotionally, overburst. Your heart will palpitate. Your heart will pulsate very easily. That's a problem. Okay, palpitation. And he comes to propose marriage to Natalia, but ends up arguing instead. So the intention of Lomo was to propose Natalia, but it later turned out to be a fierce argument between Natalia and Lomo about some trivial things. Okay, now let's read a very detailed synopsis of the story. Let's begin. Lomo arrives to make a proposal. So Lomo arrives at Chupkov's house, and his intention was to propose Natalia, but it didn't happen till the end of the story. The play opens with Ivan Lomo entering Chupkov's drawing room in a formal evening suit. Okay, understand? Lomo is wearing a formal evening suit, and that suggests that he has come here for a particular purpose. And Chupkov warmly welcomes him, but is surprised to see him dressed so formally. Chupkov was kind of confused. Why is he wearing a formal dress while visiting a neighborhood in the evening without any particular purpose? Lomo says he has come with a special request. Okay, so he put forward that he has come with a special request. Chupkov assumes Lomo wants to borrow money, but Lomo finally gathers courage and reveals that he wants to marry Natalia. Okay, so initially the landowner, okay, both are landlords. Lomo and Chupkov are landlords. So initially, Chupkov thought that he has come here to borrow money from him, which he didn't like. I mean, that idea didn't entertain him. But later he came to realize that he has come to propose his daughter Natalia. Chupkov becomes extremely happy. He embraces Lomo, blesses him, and goes to call Natalia, convinced that she will accept the proposal from the part of Lomo, because Lomo is a landowner who has a lot of wealth which will eventually become theirs as well. And Lomo talks to Natalia. Lomo sits nervously, preparing himself to propose. He feels cold, trembles with excitement, and talks to himself about how he must get married soon because he's already 35 and he has many health issues. That is why he wanted to marry, right? He says to himself that he must get married soon because he is already 35 and has many health issues. And that was the reason behind his proposal to Natalia. Maybe it doesn't arise from a genuine interest to Natalia. Rather, it arises from the fact that he's getting old and he has a lot of health issues. And he somehow wanted to get married, and that's why he came here. Which is a very trivial reason for a marriage. And Natalia enters unaware of the proposal. Natalia doesn't know about the proposal. Maybe Chupkov doesn't say about that. She apologizes for her casual appearance because she was working at home. Lomo tries to start a proposal. He couldn't do that, but he tries to start a proposal and gets distracted. About the proposal, begins talking about a piece of land called Oxen Meadows. He has started speaking about a piece of land called Oxen Meadows, and it became the reason for the ensuing fight between Natalia and Lomo. Listen, first major argument, it was about the Oxen Meadows. When Lomo refers to my Oxen Meadows, Natalia is shocked, Natalia is surprised, Natalia is confused. She insists that the meadows belong to her family. She told him strongly that the Oxen Meadows belong to her family. Lomo argues back firmly, very strongly, saying that the land is his according to the document he has. He has a number of documents substantiating that Oxen Meadows belong to Lomo's family, but Natalia wasn't ready to accept it. This leads to a massive argument in which both start shouting. Natalia repeatedly claims that the meadows have always been theirs. It has been always theirs. Lomo insists that he can prove his ownership with legal document. Natalia becomes furious and declares that she will send the movers. Movers means lawn movers, the people who are cutting and pruning the grass. Okay, movers to the meadows immediately. She threatened Lomo by saying this, and Lomo shouts back that he will not allow anyone to work on the land. Okay, and the argument becomes louder and more heated, and neither of them listened to the others. It became a very heated argument. At this point, Chupkov enters the room. Instead of settling the matter, he became very angry in the second part of the story. Instead of settling the matter, instead of reaching in an agreement, he supports his daughter and joins the fight. The argument shifts from land ownership to personal insult. Okay, the argument shifts to personal insult. All three starts blaming and abusing each other's families, ancestors, and past behavior. So Anton Chekhov has elaborately described all this argument. It's a must read. You should read it when you have time. Lomo becomes extremely agitated, holds his heart, complains about his illness, and storms out of the house because he has this palpitating issue. And Natalia learns the truth. The moment Lomo leaves, Chupkov casually mentions that Lomo had actually come to propose marriage to her. It was only then Natalia realizes that it was a marriage proposal. The primary intention of Lomo was to propose her. Okay, but he couldn't say that, and they started arguing about a very silly thing. Natalia is shocked, embarrassed, and bursts into tears. She cries loudly and begs her father. Can you even imagine that scene? He begs her father to bring Lomo back immediately because, Natalia, as we can rightly understand, is very materialistic, right? Because that proposal or that marriage will bring her a lot of material possession, right? And now she realizes that she has just kicked away those material possessions, and now she's regretting that, and now she wanted her father to bring him back. Chupkov rushes out to call Lomo back, and Lomo returns, and second argument begins. Lomo comes back, still weak and breathless. Natalia quickly apologizes for the argument. I'm sorry, okay? It's breathless actually, not breathless, okay? Breathe, when we pronounce breathe, we pronounce breathe when it is a verb, but we pronounce breath when it is a noun. So it is a breathless, okay? Breath is a noun here. So breathless, Natalia quickly apologizes for the argument and says that the meadow actually belongs to him, right? It's okay now because once Lomo marries Natalia, again it belongs to her. Lomo calms down a little and tells her that he was only defending his principles. Maybe, I don't want that Oxen Meadows because it will cost a trivial amount of money. But still I argued because I wanted to defend my principles. However, before Lomo can propose, another argument begins. This time about whose dog is better. Lomo praises his dog Gus, saying he is a good hunter and was expensive. So Gus is the name of Lomo's pet dog. And Natalia argues that her dog Squeezer is far superior. So this is Natalia's dog Squeezer. They disagree about the dog's abilities, pedigree, jaw shapes, and even hunting methods. So they started arguing about all these trivial things once again from the all of a sudden out of the blue. Once again, they raise their voices and insult each other's opinions. Chupkov enters and joins the second quarrel, and all three shouts loudly. Lomo becomes overly excited again, holds his heart, and collapses in a chair as if he is unconscious or dead. So Lomov collapses in a chair. And the proposal finally happens. For a moment, both Natalia and Chupko think Lomov is dead. They panic and scream for water and a doctor. But after a few seconds, Lomov slowly recovers. Chupko cannot take the chaos anymore. No, it's a chaos, it's a problem, back-to-back problems. And Chupko cannot take the chaos anymore. He grabs Lomov's hand and places it in Natalia's hand, shouting that she is willing to marry him and that they must get married at once. Right? So Chupko wanted to hasten the process, fasten the process, because he cannot bear this chaos anymore. Lomov, still confused, finally understands that the proposal has been accepted. He and Natalia awkwardly kiss. Okay, the people who are, arguing each other till until the last moment, now they are kissing. Okay, and both admit they are happy. They are not, and ending with yet another argument. Even after agreeing to marry, they immediately begin arguing again about the dogs. You understand? Lomov says Gus is better, while Natalia insists Squeezer is superior. Chupkov loses patience and calls for champagne to celebrate the engagement. The play ends with all three shouting, showing that the couple's married life will likely be filled with the same foolish quarrels. It will not end any soon. Okay, right. So this is how the story ends, and we have some interesting themes based on the story. The first one is foolishness of human argument. Okay, you might have already understood about this particular theme, foolishness about human arguments. The play highlights how people often quarrel over silly and unimportant matters. Instead of discussing the marriage proposal, Lomov and Natalia fight loudly about small piece of land and later about whose dog is better. Their behavior shows how easily humans lose self-control and waste time on meaningful disputes. Disputes means fights, quarrel. Marriage as a social arrangement. Anton Chekhov shows that marriage in this society is treated as a practical arrangement. It's a practical arrangement. More often than not, it doesn't stem out from a meaningful relationship, love or affection towards one person. Then, Lomo wants to marry not out of love, but because he believes it is time to settle down and lead a stable life. This reveals how marriage is influenced more by social expectation and convenience than genuine affection. Okay, so marriages are more social expectation and convenience than genuine affection, genuine love. And we have pride and possessiveness. The characters are extremely proud and cannot tolerate being corrected or contradicted. Okay, so if you are a good person, if you have an open heart, you will be able to tolerate being corrected, or you will be accepting being corrected or being contradicted. But here these people cannot tolerate being corrected or contradicted. Both Lomov and Natalia become possessive about their land and their dogs, and they refuse to give up their claim even for a moment. Their pride becomes stronger than their reason, the logic. And hypocrisy in human relationship. Hypocrisy is a major theme in the story. Chekhov shows how people change their behavior depending on their needs. Chupko speaks kindly to Lomo when he hears about the proposal, but immediately becomes rude and insulting when the argument starts. This reflects the hypocrisy present in many human relationships. Again, Natalia is also extremely hypocritic. In the beginning, she's fighting, she's engaging a fierce fight, a fierce argument, dispute with Lomo, but the moment he learned that the intention of Lomo was to propose her, to marry her, she changes her mind and decided to support Lomo. And again, the hypocrisy is very evident, very apparent in all this character, especially in Chupko and his daughter. Okay, right, I hope you understand. I have I have a mild fever. That is why I'm not very excited. I'm not shouting loudly as I always do, right? So please bear with me, and please do check the description box for the chapter test. I have prepared a chapter test based on this particular chapter, and do check and do attempt the chapter test. Okay, and you can scan this QR code and join our WhatsApp community, which is, your privacy is completely protected there, in order to avail free handwritten notes. And thank you everybody for watching. And this is not something you do every day, but still this is a request. Please let me know your feedbacks in the comment box, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, this is Nasir Faruddin signing off. Bye.